huge backup. There are closures, Jasper County, Indiana, of I-65 in both directions between State Road 14 and 114. Crash involving a rollover semi and fuel spill. Inbound Kennedy, 20 minutes O'Hare to downtown. Outbound 19. The Eisenhower, 26 minutes from 390. Stevenson, 25 minutes from the Veterans Memorial to DuSable Lakeshore Drive. The Rhine, 18 minutes, 95th to downtown. Spirit Airlines again has hundreds of cancellations today. That's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. We'll have sun and clouds today, 85. Got to warn you of some showers that could crop up overnight, towards dawn especially. Low 69, and some thunderstorms in the forecast for tomorrow. 66 at O'Hare, next news at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
From the Matrix Home Solutions Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 The Answer online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, and on TuneIn, iHeart, and on Odyssey. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan, and in for Amy J this morning is former Chicago Tribune editorial page editor Kristen McQueary. And we learned the other day that all this business of Nipple Rings Gambino there in New York is just a matter, it's a generational difference. It's cultural. This is just his way.
It's a sign of warmth.
Absolutely, it is. Yes,
all the unwanted advances are just signs of love and affection.
Right. He does it with everyone. Bus drivers, LGBTQ, Inuit Eskimos. Everyone gets the same treatment from Handsy Andy. So that's what we learned. We also learned that it's all just politics.
Yes.
Just people with a political axe to grind, like apparently all of his fellow Democrats, starting with the Attorney General. Just politics. 165-page report with all these details. Just politics. The 11 women, just politics. Okay.
And lies. He also said lies. Mm-hmm.
And also, his failure, consistent with his messianic complex, tried too much. He tried too much. He cares so much about sexual assault survivors that he tried to help Charlotte Bennett with her healing from her sexual assault.
By hitting on her.
In college, right. Well, that's how she took it, clearly. But hey, if he tried to help too much, he pleads guilty. He pleads guilty to helping too much, to caring too much. Oh, and then also, hey, look, now that I've said all that and addressed all of the accusations, we don't have time for this anymore because we still got to battle the COVID beast. And you don't forget, I'm America's governor when it comes to fighting COVID. I've got the International Emmy to prove it.
He must have really hated the mask mandates because he couldn't just get those lip-to-lip interactions with New Yorkers of all stripes.
Well, he did. I mean, remember him apparently hitting on the nurse that gave him the nose swab.
Right. We forgot about that.
Yeah.
While he's getting his COVID test, he tells, it was a female doctor, that she made that gown look good.
Yeah. He's got amazing game. He is so good at banter. I can't now, the updating the story, I can't figure out which story I enjoy the most. It came out yesterday. From the Poynter Institute, one of these phony baloney vanguards of journalism that was silent up until now. Don't blame Chris Cuomo for his brother's actions. Blame him for his own actions. Wow.
Boom. How brave.
It's so powerful. And the timing, too.
Right.
Stepping out at this point.
Wow.
Is it
courageous.
safe?
Courageous.
Or this one, I think this is my favorite. The Time's Up co-founders helped Governor Cuomo in drafting letter attacking the first accuser, who is now suing the governor's staff, Lindsey Boylan. They helped him draft the letter attacking her after she made the accusation. The people that run around hashtagging women are to be believed. Roberta Kaplan, who co-founded the Time's Up Legal Defense Fund, along with CEO of the Time's Up Legal Defense Fund, One Tina Chen. Tina Chen. Where have I heard that name before?
Former chief of staff.
Yeah, to one Michelle Obama.
Mm-hmm.
Tina Chen, you may remember, was in the news a couple of years ago when a certain French actor named Jussie Smollett was alleged to have been a victim of a hate crime. Tina Chen reached out to Kim Fox on behalf of Jussie. And we don't really know what exactly was said. We don't really know the nature of that still all this time later. But that was Tina Chen, Michelle Obama's chief of staff, reaching out ex parte to Kim Fox on Jussie Smollett's prosecution.
Right. We know that after that conversation, however, the 16 charges were suddenly dropped against him in a court hearing that had not been announced. And that reach out has never been fully revealed. There was a special prosecutor. Much of the case, the judge has allowed to be redacted, what was discovered. And so we still don't know.
I'll tell you what, if Cuomo can take down both his brother as well as these hypocritical political operatives masquerading as, women's advocates, then, perhaps it will all have been worth it. I mean, not for the women who accused him of inappropriate behavior, but I think you get my point here. The exposure of people who hide behind these hashtags and ostensibly, along with their friends in the press corps, the comm shop for the left, present themselves as, again, these great guardians of all that is good and right, these beacons of light in America, to show them for the craven little people that they really are. For more on all this, we're pleased to be joined again by David Marcus, political reporter for the New York Post, author of Charade, The COVID Lies That Crushed a Nation. David, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
So, Governor Cuomo there seems destined to take the window instead of the stairs, as now those Democrat socialists in the Assembly who were just playing press release politics 3 months ago are compelled to impeach and remove him.
Yeah, it looks that way. You guys you missed the best excuse, which is, I don't know about Chicago, but here in New York, we have these people called Italians.
Yeah, I've heard of them.
And you really got to watch yourself because they'll just grab you and start kissing you. And it's,
He learned it from his parents. Yeah.
Yes. He's driving around on a scooter with a bottle of Chianti. It looks, it looks like they're going to impeach and remove him, but I will believe it when I see it. Right now, about 75% of the state legislators have called for him to either resign or to be impeached or whatever. That means 25% haven't. That's in the neighborhood of what he needs to survive this. The farther, the last 2 days have been giant news days on this. In terms of the news cycle, we all know 3 days from now we will have moved on to something else. My sense is that he's going to be working with legislators, to try to do something along the lines of, why don't we do censure, right? It's some kind of a compromise. I think he's got at least a 20-25% chance that he could pull something like that off. So we'll see how it goes, But yeah, right now it looks bad, but we've all been in this business long enough to know what a few days can do, away from a scandal.
Well,
Northam.
Northam, that is a good example. But I mean, if he survives, boy, he's a real albatross because you've had all the national Democrats all the way to the President of the United States weigh in as well. So it makes them look impotent and unable to police their own party.
Yeah, I think they are to some extent, and this speaks to a sort of broader issue about how political power works now, because there was certainly a time when this kind of thing meant, you just resigned. You just had to get out of the way. We don't live in that world anymore, and I think there's upsides and downsides to it, right? I think in the case of Brett Kavanaugh, for example, under the old rubric, Kavanaugh doesn't survive. what happened during his hearings and stuff. Not because he's guilty or he's innocent, but just because, there's a whip of scandal. Let's move on to somebody else. I mean, there was a Supreme Court nominee, I think it was in the early 90s, who basically got yanked because he admitted to smoking marijuana.
Ginsburg,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, Ginsburg. So, I mean, we don't live in that world anymore. And like I said, there's upsides to that and downsides to that, but it's not how things are anymore.
What if criminal charges unfold? I mean, does that change the dynamic? I'm looking at a poll this morning. This is from Yahoo, but 59% of New Yorkers, this is just New Yorkers obviously, but only 59% think he should quit. To your point, that means there are a lot of people who are still sticking with him. Do you think if this becomes a criminal case, that would change?
Yes, I do. But I also think it has to do, again, with the timing, right? I think that if you can keep a steady drumbeat up until the point when the legislature has to make its decision, then it's far more likely that he goes. If things go quiet and he's able to sort of operate behind the scenes, then I think it's a little different. But I was interested in that poll too, and going back to the case of Ralph Northam, who's the Virginia governor, who was, they found photographs of either him in blackface or in a Klan outfit. He was one of the two guys, right? I remember thinking like, this guy's going. Like, obviously he's got to go. And there was a similar poll. I think it was a little better than that, but a similar poll that I saw, and I was like, wow, he might survive this. And look, one of the things that we have to deal with here in New York is Letitia James is not a impartial actor here, right? She wants to be governor. She's extremely progressive. And there is an extent to which New Yorkers look at this, and as frustrated as many of us have been with Cuomo, kind of think like this could be worse, right? So there's a lot of political dynamics that are playing out here.
I read this piece from Elizabeth Spires in the New York Times, how Cuomo could get away with this for so long. She's a digital strategist for the Democrat Socialists, and I just laughed and laughed. The dissociation that happens when these things occur from the operative set. Elizabeth Spires, how he got away with this for so long, and then she recounts how everybody knew these things about him for so long, and his Machiavellian politics and his machismo had a certain appeal, and then the fawning over by the press and so on and so forth. I mean, a wonderful breakdown of how people like Cuomo exist and thrive in politics because of people like Elizabeth Spires writing this breakdown.
Yeah, look, absolutely. Between Governor Cuomo and his dad, somebody named Cuomo has been governor of New York for half my life, and I'm pretty old. So this is a powerful family here in New York. Very deeply embedded into the Democratic Party machine, and I do think to some extent you're seeing reflected some of the tensions in the Democratic Party today, where these machines are starting, especially on the state and local level, to lose power to groups like Justice Democrats, to groups like the Squad, to these progressives who have been able, in some cases, to take advantage of things like anti-corruption laws, but also are just really good and smart at small local elections. And they don't like Cuomo. So, that's a war that we're seeing play out across the country, and my governor might be a casualty of it.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good comment, because we've certainly seen the same thing happen in Chicago. The Daleys and the Madigans and the Burks giving way to cultural Marxists. Machine politicians giving way to real leftist ideologues, and this is sort of the warning that to people were issuing. You think that just getting rid of the machine guys means it's going to be a bright new day in Illinois? Well, what if you replace them with ideological Marxists? And that's what's happening, and it's not just in New York and Chicago. It's very interesting, big city America.
Yeah, I mean, I remember watching the coverage of, the riots in Minneapolis, or when CHOP was in Seattle, and I'd be watching CNN or something, and they would cut to city council meetings, right? And these were crazy people. I mean, these people were so obviously out of step with the mainstream of even their cities that it made you scratch your head and say, like, how did this happen? Like, where you have all these DAs who refuse to prosecute crime, right? That's not necessarily what their voters want, and so we have to figure out, why this is happening. Like maybe it just sounds good, right? You look at places like Los Angeles and San Francisco. Why are we electing district attorneys? Why is the winner of the race for district attorney the person who promises to prosecute the least people? It's a very strange situation.
David Marcus, political reporter for the New York Post, author of Charade, The COVID Lies That Crushed a Nation. David, thanks for joining us as always. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
And he joined us on the Turnkey.Pro answer line.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
The Lou Dobbs Financial Report is brought to you by Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Visit signaturebank.bank for your commercial banking needs.
I'm Lou Dobbs. New York Auto Show sucked by the China virus. The Biden inflation rate boosting the cost of diapers. Microsoft lowering the vaccine boom on its employees. Those stories next.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and I'm coming to you with the most important commercial that I've ever done. All of you know what MyPillow and myself have gone through in the last 5 months in my effort